I'm Dr. Anthony Harper here, blessed to be with General Avivi from Israel. Thank you, General Avivi, for joining me.
My pleasure.
There are very serious issues to deal with regarding Israel, being attacked by Hamas on October 7th, and the development in the war those serious issues. So a big one is the issue of Rafah. So there's been pressure on Israel not to go into Rafah very soon and take out Hamas. What is the opinion on the ground from the Israelis that you know about this world pressure on Israel?
Well, I think that as the Prime Minister of Israel stated, telling us not to go to Rafah is basically telling us to lose. Rafah is the last and main stronghold of Hamas. In order to achieve the goals of war, the destruction of Hamas as a governmental and military entity, we need to go into Rafah and destroy the last brigade of Hamas. In Rafah, the leadership of Hamas is. In Rafah, the hostages are. They retreated from the north to the center to Khan Yunis. And now this is the last defining battle. And in this battle, we'll achieve the goals of war. And this is why it's so important for Israel to go in and do what it needs to be done in order to bring back the hostages, to destroy the leadership of Hamas, to destroy the last military forces of Hamas and emerge victorious of this war.
There's an additional issue is about the pressure on Israel to accept a two-state solution. We've talked about that before. What is the opinion for a lot of Israeli people about world pressure on Israel to accept a Palestinian state in light of, I know the Knesset voted 99-11 in opposing this idea?
So we in IDSF, in Israel's Defense and Security Forum, we wrote a letter to President Biden that was published in Fox News and tweeted in Fox. And we basically said to the president that pushing this two-state solution is an existential threat to the state of Israel. And also it's rewarding the terrorists for the massacre they did. I mean, what is the message? The more you kill Jews, the more you rape, behead babies, and kidnap people, the bigger are the chances for you to get what you want. And this is not the kind of messaging we want to bring to jihadists. And therefore, it comes as no surprise that almost the whole Knesset voted against this really terrible idea.
Has Hamas ever offered to release unconditionally all the hostages?
Of course not. Not really. The only way we manage to release hostages, and the only way we will release hostages, is by military pressure. The moment Hamas feels that it's threatened existentially, then they basically get to the point where they need a ceasefire, and this is why they're willing to release hostages.
There's another big issue that has been in the news, and that is about the pressure, world pressure on Israel not to have any settlements, or not for the Israeli people to build in Judea and Samaria. This is in direct opposition to the Trump administration. I know that previous Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is having a little bit of a spat, you might say, actually more of an extreme disagreement with the current Secretary of State on this matter, where the current administration has really undone the Trump administration policy on Israelis' right to build in Judea and Samaria.
Well, we are the people of Israel, and this is the land of Israel. And the heart of this land is Judea and Samaria. This is where all our history is, our heritage, the Bible Belt. And I think that it would be obvious to any state in the world that the Jews have a right to build in their own land, and that settling is not the problem, it's the solution. We need to settle the land, and it doesn't come contrary to some kind of self-governance for the Palestinian Arabs in the cities and towns in Judean Samaria where they live. We need a combination between the ability of the Jewish people to settle big parts of Judean Samaria and the Jordan Valley, and on the long term, once they stop with all this terrorism, find practical solutions, as we will in Gaza after the war.
Our evangelical Christian audience is very supportive of you and all of Israel in this in your attempt in your desire to destroy Hamas, all the enemies of Israel in this matter. There are I know they're very serious challenges, and there are some really troubling comparisons to what Israel's going through with. This is our evangelical Christian audience, seeing that the Palestinian issue being illegal settlements, kind of like we're having across our southern border here in the U.S. We have people invading our country and wanting to set up to be anywhere that they want to be here, and robbing us here in America, robbing the American taxpayer. What is the opinion of a lot of Israelis about Palestinians kind of usurping Israel and taking property?
Part of the strategy we see with the Palestinians in Judean Samaria, with Bedouins in the Negev desert and Israeli Arabs in the Galil, is taking illegally land. It's happening everywhere. I think that it's not taken care of in a serious way. And part of the awakening that we have since the 7th of October, I think we need to be really, really focused on dealing with this issue that in the long term might really endanger us. And I'm hopeful that we'll see a more decisive action from the police, from the Border Patrol, from the government, talking about this phenomenon.
Finally, there's a serious issue about how people view Israel. I hear so often that Israel is an illegal occupier. Here in America, we have, as I mentioned, people come invading our country, and the Americans here that I know see the people coming across our borders illegal occupiers. So, what would you say to people that in the world that see Israel as a legal occupier?
We are the indigenous people of this land. Here in the land of Israel, the Jewish people as a nation were created thousands of years ago. We were sovereign in this land for more than 1,000 years. We were kicked out of our land forcibly by the Romans and later on the Muslims. We prayed for thousands of years to come back to our land. And these last centuries, we really realized our prayer came back to take our land back and to build a nation that will be a light among the nations. And this is exactly what Israel is. And I think that the Jewish people are entitled to their national home like any other country in the world. We see the Middle East with endless amount of land for Arabs. We have a small heaven, and we're entitled to have a normal country with a normal size in which we can thrive and be secure. And so I think that anybody who claims otherwise is either ignorant or anti-Semite or, I don't know. I encourage people to learn history.
There's more information. I know you have a website. And what is that again?
idsf.org.il. The website is Hebrew and English. We have both two websites. So we have a huge amount of materials in the website, and I encourage, being a grassroots movement, I encourage people to join, to sign to the newsletter, to the webinars, which we do almost daily, updating about the war, bringing the best experts Israel has to really explain what is going on. And since the beginning of the war, we're doing it almost on a daily basis, and we have thousands of people following the webinars, reading our materials, following our TV appearances, and so on.
Thank you for joining me, General Avivi, today on this so important update on what Israel is going through, especially in regarding the war with Hamas that we know that has been dedicated to destroy Israel, and there's so many enemies of Israel. So once again, our evangelical Christian audience praying for all of you in Israel in this very serious time, and praying for the hostages, all of them, to be released as soon as possible, and great victory in all this for peace as never before.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Amir Avivi, and I'm the founder and CEO of IDSF הביטחוניסטים. 73 years ago, the modern state of Israel was founded. Against all odds, and despite the best efforts of the Arab countries and naysayers across the globe, we, the Jewish people, established a modern Jewish democracy in our ancestral homeland. Let me ask you a simple question. Why have the Palestinians not been successful in establishing their own state? The United Nations partition plan handed an Arab state on a silver platter, but the Arabs rejected it. They chose not to declare statehood. They repeatedly refused statehood as recently as in 2000 and 2008. They were offered Gaza, almost all of Judea and Samaria, parts of Jerusalem, all rejected. Israeli prime ministers were willing to dissect and destroy the biblical heartland of the state of Israel in the name of peace. But all these efforts were rejected. The world likes to point a finger at Israel and call us occupiers. They say that we are denying rights, denying statehood to our people. It's not true. Denying the fact that the land of Israel is our ancestral land won't solve the problem. As a retired Brigadier General in the Israeli army, I can tell you how happy I would be if the Palestinians successfully build a state. Do you know how many lives are put in harm's way every day, and how many billions of dollars are spent because they refuse to create their own normal state? But the Palestinians refuse to build a state. They would rather devote their efforts to destroying the one Jewish state than have a state of their own. So what is the solution? Peace is important. We want peace. We pray for peace. But dividing up the land of Israel will not bring peace. We have 73 years of proof. But there is a thought. Israel is the home of innovation. Technology developed in Israel improved lives around the world. We're in the business of exporting great ideas and great minds, from drip irrigation to microprocessors to cancer research. We are cutting edge. So why don't we have any new ideas when it comes to solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? Well, there are in fact new ideas. And Israeli politicians, Palestinian leaders, and international negotiators need to start to think out of the box to find solutions. But one thing is clear. Giving up land for the sake of peace never works. Peace treaties come and go, but you can't get your land back. If Israel gives up the land for peace, we will have no land and no peace. The current borders of Israel are too small to divide between two nations. They are not large enough to provide strategic positions and security for two countries. Once we establish that land for peace does not work, there are still options. Dr. Moti Kedar has a great idea of creating emirates between all different local Arab clans, just like they have in the UAE. There would be the Emirate of Hebron and the Emirate of Jericho, etc. I've spoken to some of the big Arab families and they like the idea. I myself have been a big proponent of the new state solution. Build a Palestinian state, but where is it built? There are really only two options. Build a Palestinian state in Jordan, which is anyway 80% Palestinian, or build a Palestinian state in the Sinai Peninsula adjacent to Gaza. The Sinai Peninsula is currently almost empty. If you are an Arab living under the failed Palestinian Authority in Ramallah or under Hamas terrorists in Gaza, wouldn't you rather have your own plot of land in the Sinai Peninsula with drip irrigation farms in a free democratic Palestinian state? We need to think out of the box and find solutions. The Jewish people were exiled from our land for 2,000 years. We came back and have created one of the most forward-thinking democracies in the world. And now we need to maintain our sovereignty in the land and secure the Jewish state for generations to come. We are not about to retreat to indefensible borders for a short-lived peace. Let us build a lasting, real peace with our neighbors, but let's do it in a way that actually works.